Okay, should be live. Okay. Liberty Tree Radio. I'm live on Liberty Tree Radio and simulcasting on YouTube at the same time. You can either call in through Liberty Tree Radio or you can text via YouTube. And I'm going to be talking about basically the Middle East because that's obviously the big news right now. I'm upset by what's going on because we're going to be drawn into this war, almost certainly. It's going to be turning into a big war, and a lot of it the timing has to do with the election and a lot of other things going on right now that a lot of you may not be aware of. Keep in mind when I'm doing this show, I'm actually trying to. I actually get most of my news from the mainstream media. I listen to NPR, for God's sake, National Propaganda Radio. So, but then I go on the internet later and find out what's really going on. You see, I'm getting both sides. I'm getting the story that they want me to know, and I'm getting the story that they don't want me to know. So I'm trying to learn from both sides, and I can make a more informed decision. And you all will be doing the same. And by the way, people on YouTube, I'm sorry, I can't seem to I'm doing this off of a phone, and I can't seem to get the screen to go what they call landscape. So I think that's called the landscape. I don't know what the problem is. I spent about 20 minutes in the settings trying to get things going right, and it's not going right. And okay, let me see. I'm trying to do several things at the same time. Okay, so and for the people on Liberty Radio, if you want to see it instead of hear it, the name of the YouTube channel is called Forbid TV. Forbid spelled with 2 D's and TV, no space. Forbid TV. That's the name of the channel. So, okay, I do seem to be able to. And I have to log in on my computer on a different account because YouTube blocks me. It blocks me from watching my own channel. Because I think because I do ad blocking, you see. They don't like that. They try to stop ad blocking. So I should be able to see the chat and I should be able to respond visually on the screen, hopefully. Okay, so anyway, what's going on right now in the Middle East should be disturbing all Americans. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am an American. I'm in the state of Michigan right now, Michigan Republic, and I'm so the opinions here will be based on what I see as an American in watching the news and getting on the internet from the American perspective. So this may not be the perspective, of course, for a lot of you who are in different countries, but that's just a base of what I'm going off with here now. So what's going on in Israel and Gaza and the West Bank and the Golan Heights and Lebanon and Iran, the whole Middle East is going to blow up. It's already blowing up, and it's going to get a lot worse if cooler minds don't prevail. It seems we don't have any adults right now in Washington, and unfortunately, all trends point to getting us into war. And that's exactly what Bibi wants. And for those of you who don't understand, because a lot of you aren't kept up with this, I'm going to try to keep it a little simpler. Bibi, Benjamin Netanyahu, that's the prime minister of Israel. He wants to start a war before the election to destroy the Democrats. And because he prefers Trump, because Trump is going to do even more, allow him to do more of what he wants, even more than Kamala Harris. Now, I'm going to be talking, you probably aren't going to be able to tell whether I'm a Democrat or Republican, but I'm not either anyway, so you're not going to be able to figure it out because I'm going to be talking bad about both of them and be talking bad about Israel. And because I talk bad about Israel doesn't mean I'm anti-Semitic. Not a single thing I'm going to say tonight is anti-Semitic. The press will try to label me as that, and YouTube might even try to flag me for that, but nothing I'm going to say is anti-Semitic. They've reinvented the names of the definitions of words right now, trying to get you to believe things that aren't real. And our press does support basically anything Israel says and does. This is the way it's been. So I'm going to piss off a lot of people, maybe in a lot of countries, including the U.S. I'm going to piss off a lot of Republicans. So if you vote red until you're dead, you're going to be mad at me for what I'm going to say tonight. If you vote blue, no matter who, then you're going to be mad at me tonight. I'll probably piss off just about everybody tonight. And that's okay. I'm not I'm not on a monetized channel. I don't ask for donations. I have no affiliate links. I do nothing to try to make money off this channel. I stopped posting videos for people on YouTube. I stopped posting videos because, frankly, my channel has been pretty much dead. Hello, Ed.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in. You know, that those two things that you just said, until recently, until I think it was Trump was elected the first time around, blue's always been Republican, red's always been Democrat until this current, these last 3 term cycles that we've been going through.
Oh, okay. Well,
always.
Well,
as long as I can remember.
But from what I'm hearing right now, they say blue no matter who. That's what they're saying. Isn't that right?
I know, and they flipped it to where blue's Democrats, red's Republicans. But, you know, there's another thing. You know, better dead than red and all that other stuff from World War II. Okay.
Well, that's a whole different kind of red.
It's interesting that it's been flipped on its head, and to hear that, it's like, well, if that is the way you think, then you should have been voting, you know, Republican up until the way they flip it back and forth. And as far as I know, this is the first time they've actually flipped the color thing on us.
Okay, well, regardless, if you're in favor of the orange man, you're not going to like what I'm going to say tonight. And if you're in favor of no matter who, you also aren't going to like what I'm going to say tonight. So we have no good political system in this country anymore. Maybe we haven't had a good system in a long time, probably all my life. It really doesn't matter. And I think our current cadaver in chief proves absolutely that our president is just a puppet. It really, who is really running the country? You really think that guy that you see on TV mumbling is actually in control of what's going on in the world right now? You know, the supposedly free country, the most powerful country in the world, supposedly. I think everybody can see through this now. I think they've proven that the presidency is just a puppet. Our cadaver in chief just isn't there anymore.
Here's the thing, had we really seen him monthly up until that debate?
Yeah, they've been keeping him out of the press.
Stone cold obvious to everybody. They did everything in their power to hide him. He did the least interviews of any presidential candidate since we've had TV.
I hope the people.
Radio. I don't think he even did any radio interviews except for me too.
I hope the people on YouTube can hear. You can let me know. But basically, Ed at the studio is talking from Liberty Tree Radio is talking to me through the speakerphone here on another cell phone. So hopefully you see this because you can hear him. So the situation is going to be now. For those of you who know my new YouTube channel, and maybe you subscribe to me because I have a lot of prepping stuff on there. I don't do a lot of political stuff on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of political stuff on my Liberty Tree Radio weekly radio show, but I don't do a whole lot of political stuff on YouTube. But for those of you who know on both networks, I am very much not a fearmonger. I never fearmonger, even though I do self-prepper stuff, and I consider myself to be kind of a prepper. I don't lump myself in with the current preppers where they just look at all the fear-mongering and just repeat everything. So what I'm going to say here is rather measured, and I'm not trying to fearmonger, and I never try to fearmonger. But this is getting bad. This is getting critical. If there's any time to be worried, I think now is a time to be worried. Until cooler heads prevail, we're in some deep trouble here in the United States and the rest of the world, frankly, because this could end up going into World War III. Now, when I say World War III, don't get me wrong, because a lot of you know I do a lot of stuff dealing with radiation. World War III doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be nuclear war. I know a lot of you are conditioned to think that, but it doesn't mean we're going to nuclear war. World war basically just means a whole lot of countries are going at it against each other, and you can see this developing right in front of us, folks. So when I'm talking about World War III, because that's a term people throw out all the time, and they're thinking, oh, we're all going to die, we're all going to die. I don't think it'll be nuclear when this happens. It's possible there may be a nuclear exchange or two, but it's going to be very frowned upon no matter what country does it. And there'll be a lot of retaliation and negativity towards whatever country decides to use nuclear weapons. And for those of you who also believe that, well, when US and Russia start exchanging bombs and everybody's exchanging bombs, we're all dead because nuclear winter and all that. Well, you need to do a little studying, a little research. The nuclear winter meme is basically a lie. Think of it this way. Here's a good way to put it in perspective for those of you who think that a nuclear war and all nuclear exchange is just going to kill everybody on the planet. all the nuclear weapons that exist today, if they were all detonated at the same time, it still has less energy than a powerful hurricane. So when was the last time we had a powerful hurricane? A week ago? So I don't think everybody's dead. I don't see a nuclear winter. Come on. If you are uneducated on this, thank you, Joe Smith. He says you can hear Ed. I'm going to put something on here on the screen for those of you on YouTube anyway. I'm going to try to do some links as we go here. Oh, and well, I'll just say it because I'm going to try to do too many things, and I'm not trying to do this live on both networks. Search out an article by somebody named Shane. What's his last name? Shane Connor. And the name of the article is titled, it's on KI4U website. They also sell radiation detection equipment. KI4U website, but if you have Shane Connor and you enter in the good news about nuclear destruction, the good news about nuclear destruction. Read that, and this is the most truthful thing I've seen printed on the topic, trying to get you away from what the fear-mongering was given to us for my entire life. And they got it to where people are just saying, oh, we're all going to die, so just throw up your hands and don't do anything. Don't prepare, don't do anything. It's not going to be like that. Unless you're at ground zero, you're not going to die. Unless you're within about 5 miles of the dead center, or what they call the ground zero, you're not going to die immediately. You'll have your windows blown out and so on, but there's not any real danger of you dying, certainly not immediately. And even the fallout that occurs later all depends on the winds and the way the wind blowing and how far away you are and how bad it was, whether there's an air burst, a gamma burst. There's so many variables that I can't give you a specific for your location. But if you're like 30 miles away from wherever a major nuclear bomb is detonated, not only will you live, but you'll have a great chance of survival. Short term, long term. Other than the fact that here in the US, we are addicted to electricity, and you probably will not have electricity for a long time. I don't just mean overnight. I don't just mean a week or even a month. I mean possibly years. That's the biggest danger of a nuclear exchange in the US is if you want to call that a nuclear winter, go ahead, because by that means in wintertime, you're going to be freezing, depending where in the country you are. You're going to be freezing, you're going to be in the dark, and you're going to be hungry and maybe sick and dying. Because government study has shown about 90% of us could be dead if our grid was down for about a year or more. Just saying. The grid is our most vulnerable thing, and that very well could be what we're attacked with when we get into this war. And notice I didn't say if, because when we get into this war, it's almost inevitable the direction we're going right now. The cadaver-in-chief has been saying, support Israel at all costs, no matter who. Also, full support of Israel. And also, Orange Man. It's probably going to even be worse under the Orange Man. Because look what he did during his first term with Jerusalem. The normalization, all the things that he's been doing with Israel during his presidency and his words to date, and Jared Kushner, Bibi is going to have full rank to do anything he wants under Trump, but we are controlled. Our politicians, I'm trying to find a particular page again because I'm trying to look at the chat here. Thanks, Knockface. I'm looking at some of the chat here on long time no see. Yeah, I don't do videos because YouTube basically the bot has not recognized me in so many years, about 5 years ago when they started deleting a bunch of channels. And I'm not monetizing all that. I'm not playing their money game. Their bot doesn't like me. So even when I was struggling and put out more videos, I wasn't gaining any new subscribers. And even though I'm not trying to make money on the channel, I wasn't making any money on the channel, I still like to see my channel grow. And it wasn't. The bot has prevented that. And so I stopped doing a lot of videos. I do plan on putting out, I have a lot of video footage I recorded that I'd like to put videos on. I'm a little too busy right now to put a lot of videos anyway, but we are I'm gonna someday, maybe this winter, I'll put out some videos when I have a little more time because I can't work on my project that I'm working on right now. So anyway, we're about ready to get into a major war, and none of us are going to like this. Now, I'm old enough to remember the Vietnam War, and what finally really stopped that, because I kind of just demonstrated you can't vote in the one that's going to stop the war because they all want war. You really can't. You're watching the mainstream press, and that's a big difference today. Is today we have the internet, so yeah, you can watch national propaganda radio, listen to national propaganda radio and BSNBC, and you can actually listen to what they're saying. That's what they want you to hear, but then go somewhere else and kind of look on the internet. So, but they may put clamps on the internet. They've been trying to put clamps on the internet. You've noticed that, right? They've been trying to put clamps on the internet. Look what happened with it when Elon Musk bought out X and all the things he found out about what was going on with Twitter, with the FBI and all the channels that get shut down on YouTube and blocked because they're saying certain things that the mainstream media doesn't like and our government gets involved in. You better believe that one of the first things they're going to do is going to start putting some serious clampdowns on the internet when we go to war, because they can't have you knowing what you're not supposed to know. You're going to have to know what they want you to know and nothing else. So this is going to be a big difference with this particular war that we got coming up here. I'm sorry to say this is all coming, and this is, I'm making some predictions here, I guess, if you will, but this is all really serious because if we don't change where we're going, this is all going to happen. Our grid could be going down for a long time, and you're not ready for this. No matter how good of a prepper you think you aren't ready for the grid to go down like this. You think what's coming up here with the economy is going to be bad with a war or the longshoreman strike. If that goes on for like a week or more, we're going to start seeing COVID-like shortages, and we're going to be in some pretty bad, perilous times. If it goes on for weeks, our economy is going to be in shreds. The war will do that too. And as soon as Israel strikes Iran again, if it's a big one, watch the price of gas go almost maybe double. Watch the Straits of Hormuz be blocked.
Craig, we don't have to go to war for any of that. We literally just had a hurricane hit a couple of our major ports on the East Coast, and we've got all the ports in the Gulf and on the East Coast in strike, and some of the major ports on the West Coast striking in solidarity with them. What's that going to do to our imports and exports?
Yeah,
and on top of that, we have flooding. We do have deaths from the hurricane. Know a few people that are missing from it. I know a couple of people that have lost people from where the hurricane hit. So, yeah, we have our own problems here to deal with, but we're still sending trillions of dollars overseas.
Yeah, and that's one of the things here. Coming from this, I'm not a politician, and it's going to be obvious by what I'm going to say here next. And Ed just mentioned it. Sending money to overseas. Well, in my opinion, as a libertarian sort, can't say I'm a libertarian, I'm just saying I'm more of that ilk, if you will. I think we need to stop all gifting all around the world. We got our own country to worry about here. Our gifting all around the world, including weapons. Stop sending weapons all over the world. Stop sending money all over the world. Close down 750 plus military bases we have. Go ahead, Ed.
Real quick, on top of that, my wife was just shouting at me and wanted me to say this on air. We've got another hurricane coming in along the same path that's supposed to hit next Wednesday that's just as strong as the one that just hit us.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have stuff to deal with here. But we don't have the resources to take care of everybody else and us.
Well, that's climate change, don't you know, Ed?
Oh, BS. We've had hurricanes. We've had really bad hurricanes like this before, but these are 1,000-year storms. You go back into it, well, I don't know about 1,000 years. Maybe every 500, 600 years, you can find storms like this in history.
But that's what BSNBC says. Climate change. Okay.
Of course they do.
Okay, continuing here. Okay, so stop giving money to every country in the world. Not every country, but all the countries in the world we give money to. Stop sending weapons to all the countries we send weapons to. That would mean Israel, Ukraine, and whoever else we're doing. We have about over 750 military bases all over the world where we don't belong. Start closing those down. Get them all closed down. Get our troops back home and guard our own border, because the only legitimate reason for a military is defense. That's the only legitimate reason for a military, is defense of your nation. So close down all the military bases we have all over the world, more than 750 of them, and mind our own business. Get the CIA out of everybody's business. Stop trying to take over countries and put in our own puppet leaders in all countries all around the world. We're being hated all over the world for very good reason, because of interventions like the CIA. We need to get the hell out of all these other countries, mind our own business, worry about our own country. And hey, as far as the military-industrial complex goes, build weapons and sell them to whoever wants to buy them. Sell them to them, not give them to them, sell them to them at a fair price. Let them all kill themselves. We can defend our own country if we build our military back up. Well, if we get all our people back here and get all our equipment back here, we can defend ourselves. We're not going to be in any danger of being attacked, essentially. And if we mind our own business instead of the world affairs of destroying nations, like we're doing in Ukraine right now, like we've done in Ukraine, then people will start respecting us more, and we'll start being better on the world stage as a true leader, a true moral country. Because right now, the Middle East is going to be flared up against us. They're already flaring up against us, and we're not going to survive this. We're not going to win this war. It really depends. There's a lot of variables, of course. But right now, of course, a couple days ago, Iran, in response to a bunch of things that are going on in the Middle East, decided to strike Israel with some missiles. And by the way, and if you're only getting your news off of the mainstream media, you're not understanding what the capabilities really are and what those missiles actually did. I hear a lot of things, and I don't know. I don't have anybody in the military that tells me anything, so I don't know for sure of all the details. But you can even see from social media that a lot of those missiles did hit. They may want to make it sound like, oh yeah, all these missiles came in and we shot most of them down and they didn't kill anybody. And that was minimal. Well, they also announced the missiles were coming. The last time they announced them some 6 hours before or 8 hours before or something ridiculous. This time they didn't announce as far ahead. But they also, the reason they didn't kill anybody is because Iran didn't target civilians like somebody else does, right? So yeah, if those missiles were targeting civilians, of course, Israelis also have their own safe rooms in their homes. They're required by law actually to have safe rooms in their homes, so they're a little more protected anyway. They have their own little bomb shelters in their homes, basically. So they're a little safer to begin with, but they didn't kill any civilians because they don't target civilians. They've been very patient. They've been very precise with their targeting. Unlike Israel, how many civilians has Israel killed? At least 40,000 in Gaza. Probably a whole lot more than that, because when you look at the number of munitions that they've served upon Gaza, from the air, you'll find that it's like 80,000, more than 80,000 tons. I think it's like 100 and something thousand tons of munitions, bombs. That's more than was bombed in Dresden and several cities combined. I can't remember the cities now. Yeah, more bombs were dropped. So it took 80,000 tons of bombs to kill 40,000 people. You're being lied to, obviously. The whole thing about Gaza is ethnic cleansing. Plain and simple, ethnic cleansing. They're trying to drive everybody out. And this is going to be my first link here. I'm going to put this link here. This is going to be important for those who are going to argue this, because this is going to make a lot of you mad. If putting it in the chat for those of you, no, I don't do Rumble. Joe Smith, maybe be doing that if they eliminate my YouTube channel. I definitely will. Are you listening, YouTube bot? I've just posted a link on the chat, and the title of this, and I talked about this last week on my radio show for those of you Liberty Tree Radio. The title of it is called "No, Israel does not have a right to defend itself in Gaza, but the Palestinians do." I urge you to look that up if you haven't on Liberty Tree Radio. Those of you on YouTube, I just posted the link. You can look it up. You can read it yourself. It's not coming from some source that is likely giving you false information. It's from Craig Mockaber, international human rights lawyer and former senior United Nations official. He left the UN in October 2023, penning a widely read letter that warned of genocide in Gaza, criticized the international response, and called for a new approach to Palestine and Israel based on equality, human rights, and international law. So anyway, that's your first link. And for those of you watching this not live, I will put it in the description box. If they still allow me to put links such as this, because they're limiting the amount of links I can put anymore. I don't even know what's showing up on here on YouTube right now. It looks like it's posted. Somebody says I don't see the link. Okay, well, I've posted it. I see it here. It's from a different account. It's not from the name Forbid TV, because I can't even get on my own. I can't even watch my own video on my own channel because of the blockages they have on me. So anyway, I told you the title. Let me tell it to you again. If you can't see it there, you can come back later and look at the link in the description box if they allow me to. Otherwise, just write down what I'm about ready to tell you. The title of it is called, "No, Israel does not have a right to defend itself in Gaza, but the Palestinians do." It's a double lie, folks, because that's the first thing because the Israeli crime minister will get up there and say, well, we will defend ourselves. We have a right to defend ourselves. And everybody else, the U.S. says, well, we observe the right for Israel to defend itself. They don't have that right. Not in Gaza. You might be able to make that claim in Lebanon, but you kind of have to go back and see who fired the first shot, and you'd have to go back to at least 1947 to find out who fired the first shot, essentially. It's been going on forever. So, no, Israel does not have a right to defend itself in Gaza, but the Palestinians do. Iran also might be a different story, but again, who fired the first shot? Israel has been murdering high-level Iranian officials for a long time, destroying nuclear facilities where they're trying to develop nuclear technologies. Whether or not it's weapons or not, we aren't sure. And it appears that they probably could really quickly if they wanted to, but they've held off. They've been following the treaties, folks. We haven't. So we've had all these attacks. We had the pagers. We had the walkie-talkies. We've had killing people, killing high-level officials, Palestinian officials, and the Palestinian or Hamas, if you will, chief negotiator killed in Tehran by a bomb that Israel planted. Then we had a murder in, what was it? It was in Lebanon. I can't remember if it was, what city it was. Was it in Beirut? I think it probably was Beirut, where he was killed. The head of Hamas, supposedly, murdered, along with probably several hundred other civilians, because they leveled a bunch of apartment buildings to get this guy. They don't care. They purposely target civilians anyway. We know this. They've been doing this forever. And if you kill one of them, they want to kill, I think the ratio is at least 40 of you. So how many did Iran kill here, this last attack? 0? Okay, what's 0 times 40? Oops. 0. How many think you are going to be dying in Iran in the next few days whenever this counterstrike comes by? Guarantee it's going to be more than 0. And they won't just target military targets either. They're talking about going after the oil facilities, the nuclear facilities. And when all this happens, you better hope you got a full tank of gas in your car for starters. Be prepared as you can. You aren't prepared, and you can't really prepare for our grid being going down for more than a year. But if all this comes to pass, because the key here, folks, if you don't,
Greg,
hello.
I want to get up and throw 2 cents in there. I do not believe that the Israelis suffered no casualties in that attack. I believe they want to claim that they suffered no casualties, but they reported that the Iron Dome was overwhelmed to the point where they had to have U.S. ships off the coast help shoot down those missiles.
Yeah, well, and here's
We've heard reports from students and reporters that were there in Israel when the bombs were falling and having to take shelter in staircases and everything, and hearing explosions outside and all the other stuff that was going on. I'm sure they wanted to get. I'm sure they don't want to admit they got a bloody nose, or that they were totally ineffective. But obviously, their Iron Dome was totally ineffective because they had to call on U.S. aid to shoot down the missiles.
Yeah, well, let them go with 0, because then it's going to make their retaliation so much worse. Because the number from Iran won't be 0, guaranteed. So that brings up another point about our ships. And for those of you, I know people in Liberty Tree Radio pretty much know this off the top of their head about the USS Liberty in 1967. I think it was 67. I might be wrong about that. For the Six-Day War, is that what it was called? And people in Liberty Tree Radio know this, but if you don't know about this on YouTube, you need to go look up the USS Liberty, 1967, and find out what happened. Israel attacked a U.S. ship intentionally, purposely, knowingly, to try to get us involved in a war, and to blame it on Egypt to try to get us involved in the war. And so we start getting involved in their war in Egypt. If a whole bunch of missiles go back and forth and one accidentally hits the USS Abraham Lincoln, or maybe the USS Cole or something like that, and causes a lot of damage, and all of a sudden, rah, 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 we have a reason to go to war in the Middle East, right? Against, who's it going to be blamed on? Iran. So just beware, if you see a major attack on a ship, they're going to blame it on Iran. It probably wasn't Iran, it was probably Israel. Might have even been our own doing, actually, with our full knowing, because they have to come up with a good reason to go to war. If we go to war right now, the Democrats are done. No matter who will never get elected. The blue, no matter who. Won't get elected. They'll be done for her. But our option, who would be elected, doesn't look good. Frankly, folks. They've tried to put him in jail. They've convicted him. They've tried to kill him. They tried to do everything they could to keep him from being on the ballot. But look at his track record. 4 years, he didn't drain no swamp. He didn't do anything to the deep state. And he's going to go right along with whatever Israel wants. So don't tell me there's going to be some kind of major difference, you MAGA people. Again, I'm going to piss off everybody tonight. So, okay, sorry if the link didn't show. I don't know if the link did show. I'm also going to put up other links here, so hopefully some of them will show, and hopefully I'll be able to get something in there on the live stream chat for those of you. Okay, for those of you, look up the USS Liberty. For those of you on YouTube, if you don't know what I'm talking about, because you may think that's BS. He can't actually believe that Israel attacked one of our ships and we allowed it to happen, and then we even wanted that ship to sink so that we could help Israel get involved in the war. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's trying to push us into war. He's trying to get a major exchange going, so we keep defending Israel. And if we get into hot war and something happens now the U.S. is going to try to avoid getting this war until after the election. After the election, all bets are off. But if they want no matter who to win, they're going to have to keep us out of war until election day. But Bibi doesn't want that. Bibi wants to make sure that the orange man wins. That's what he wants. And so he'd rather have the orange man in than no matter who. And so that's what he's going to do. He's going to try to draw us more and more into war. And we're taking the bait. We've been taking the bait. Our politicians are bought and paid for, have been for a long time. You can look up online and find out who gets paid, which one of your congressmen and senators get paid by AIPAC and the other Israeli lobbies. There's a website, it's public knowledge. You know who's number one on that list? Our cadaver-in-chief, Joe Biden. He has taken the most money out of everybody on that list. Just saying. But don't believe me. Go check it out. The leader of Israel is out of control at this point. He's been out of control for a long time. He's doing this on purpose to try to get us into war. And it looks like he's going to succeed. And if he succeeds, it's going to be hell on us. Don't believe it's going to be a cakewalk, because here's what's going to happen. Well, here's what's likely to happen. Put it that way. I'm basing this on some links I'm going to give you here in a minute. Russia won't sit back and watch Iran, one of their trading partners, get wiped out by the U.S. and Israel. If Iran, I got to get my countries right here. If Iran blocks the Straits of Hormuz because of getting in this major war, China's going to get involved. China will be very, very upset if the Straits of Hormuz was blocked. This is not going to be good, folks. And what else? We got Hezbollah. Hezbollah is in a war. Already have killed more than 1,000 people in Hezbollah, and civilians, by the way. Killed more than 1,000 civilians in Lebanon, which is where Hezbollah is based. I also have reports, and I haven't seen any more confirmations of this, but there is if you would believe what the Military Watch magazine.com channel says, Russian missile defenses block Israeli attack on western Syria. Syria. This happened on September 26th, a week ago. Russia shot down 13 Israeli missiles over western Syria, an area called Tartus. They're trying to get Russia involved in this too, because if Russia comes to the aid of Iran, they know the U.S. is going to get big time involved, right? We've got Jordan, and Jordan, Turkey, and Egypt are on the verge of a civil war. The people there are very highly upset of not only what has been happening in Gaza, but what's happening in Lebanon as well. Their leaders are about ready to be strung up if they don't do something when all this goes down. Jordan's going to be right in the middle of it. Missiles going right over their head all the time. Egypt, right on the border on the south, going to have to jump in. Their people are about right. Their economies are in tatters. Their people are upset at their leaders. There's going to be some mass protesting. There already is. And also watch what Turkey does, because Turkey is a formidable military that can also take on Israel big time. And if Israel decides to nuke Turkey, Turkey has been promised by Pakistan, we're getting Pakistan involved now, see, World War, to aid militarily, nuclear-wise, in Turkey's defense. Pakistan has nuclear missiles, if you don't know. Now, Iran, we've got problems. Iraq is going to be at war with Israel. Iraq is already, and we've got bases, we've got military bases in Iraq, which have already been hit once. We've murdered people too. Donald Trump murdered people, murdered a high-ranking Iranian government official. Remember that? Yemen, the Houthi. We've got supposedly the most powerful Air Force, powerful military in the world, and we haven't been able to stop the Houthi. Neither has Israel. Just yesterday, I think it was, they attacked 2 more ships. And they're supposedly a ragtag bunch of Muslims that from a backwards country, but they're winning. Hamas is essentially winning. They're being destroyed, but they haven't rooted out Hamas. Hamas still exists. It's an idea. You can't root it out anyway. They're never going to be able to destroy Hezbollah. And if Hezbollah just manages to keep firing some missiles every once in a while, they're never going to be able to move back into the northern Israel, the people who have moved out because of the war. Israel is losing, even though if you watch the mainstream media, MSNBC will tell you exactly, they're so moral, they're so on high moral ground, they're winning. All these Arabs, they're evil and they're terrorists, and they all need to be taken care of because Israel has the right to protect itself. That's the mainstream media narrative. But let me talk you to me jump in, and I'm going to put another link here. Hopefully, some of these links, maybe one of these links will post. I don't know. I'm posting another link on if you're watching on YouTube right now. This is a channel that I'm getting mentions or anything from their channel to mine. But the people you ought to be listening to, some of their names are, and some of you may already know this on YouTube especially, Scott Ritter. He knows more than me. All these people I'm going to name know more than me. I don't know jack crap. Who else? I'm trying to think. Douglas McGregor, Colonel Douglas McGregor. He was a military advisor for Trump. Scott Ritter is Scott Ritter was a UN's weapons inspector during the Iraq wars. Professor Jeffrey Sachs. There's a whole laundry list of them, but if you go to the channel that I've posted the link of, if it's not showing there, name is Judge Napolitano, called Judging Freedom. And click on any of the live feeds that he has there on his channel before they knock him down again, because they tried knocking him down once, and they're probably going to have to if we do go to war. These people that I mentioned and many others on that channel will tell you the scoop from inside sources that I certainly don't have. I'm just gathering all this information and relaying to you what I believe to be the best information that I've gathered from all these sources. But the best one place to go, in my opinion, is the channel I just mentioned called Judging Freedom, hosted by Judge Napolitano. I was very leery of a judge, watching a channel by a judge, because I've been attacked by so many judges, and I've had to file federal lawsuits, some of which I've won, by the way, against judges who do this kind of things to people, to real Americans. But nevertheless, he does appear to be the real deal, and so I'm recommending his channel, whereas maybe a year ago I would not have. He's a judge, don't listen to him. But he does appear to be a patriot. Another person who I'm going to also, God, I wish, Jimmy Carter turned 100 years old. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was during basically the day of the bombing, whatever day that was, of the missiles striking Israel. Jimmy Carter, as some of you may know, if you're old enough, I remember Jimmy Carter, worked tirelessly for peace in the Middle East and a two-state solution. That was one of his main platforms. If he was dead, he'd be rolling in his grave right now, but he's not dead. So I was really hoping he'd put out a statement of some kind yesterday. On his 100th birthday, everyone would hear it. Everyone in the world would hear that statement. He was a bullhorn for peace in the Middle East. And he really he missed a great opportunity there. And some say, well, he'd be on you know whose side. Well, maybe, but maybe not. I think at his age, I don't think, and the Democratic Party that he was a Democrat. I don't think it probably resembles much of what they call Democrats today. Somebody nearing the end of their life would care too much about upsetting some Democrats. You see, there's only two people that can really stop this war before it happens. Jimmy Carter would be the third, with the right statement, public statement, might have been able to do some really good for the world. Now, maybe he's not cognitive enough to be able to make the statement. I don't know. But the only two people right now that can stop this is Bibi Netanyahu, which, even if he did stop, he would be replaced by others who might continue. And then our cadaver-in-chief. Our cadaver-in-chief right now, he talks a talk on the news saying, well, we have to get a solution. We negotiate. Bibi doesn't want to negotiate. He wants war. He wants to get you involved in his war. He talks the talk, but our cadaver-in-chief could just pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what, Bibi? We kind of want who to win in this next election, so you really need to lay off right now until after the election's over with. I'll help you later, I promise. But hang on until after the election's over, please. And if it doesn't hang on, he still has the ability to stop all weapons going to Israel, stop all money going to Israel. Israel would not be existing right now without us. And what are they doing for our national security? They're just bringing us down. Hey, Bibi, if a parasite destroys the host, what happens to the parasite? Yeah, because they will bring us down. He will bring us down. Israel will bring us down. They've been bringing us down for decades. And our politicians are in no position to be able to stop it unless they go up against the Israeli lobby. If Carter came down with some kind of major statement, short and sweet, informing them that they would get through the mainstream press, you better believe it, on his 100th birthday, it would have got through the mainstream press. A message of peace in the Middle East. All these politicians can vote against AIPAC, what AIPAC doesn't want them to do. They can vote to stop the money going into Israel, but none of them are brave enough to do so. It's just a sad fact, folks. They all want that AIPAC money. It's legal bribery from a foreign interest. That's what we have in this country. And that's what's controlling us, and that's what's going to bring us down. Okay, I didn't see anybody saying on YouTube whether they saw that last link. I'm going to put this up there too, since I got it here on the screen. Another link I'm going to be posting on YouTube on the live chat stream. Maybe none of them are coming through. Maybe I have to prove them somehow. I don't know. I'm not on my channel where I can prove them because I have to be on a different channel to post them. Okay, well, I posted another link. My time's almost up at Liberty Tree Radio. Folks, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to answer questions from the people on YouTube after my hour is up on Liberty Tree Radio. If you don't know, for those of you on YouTube who don't know about my weekly radio show, of course, I don't go on every week, unfortunately. That's my schedule, but I've been so busy, especially during the warmer weather, that I'm too busy to really stop and do what I'm doing, especially since it's been daylight at this time of night. But now it's getting to where it's dark at this time of night where I'm at. So maybe I'll be on more, maybe not. Because during the daylight, I got to be out there working on my project. If you want to go, you can go to forbiddenknowledge.info, or you can go to libertytreeradio.4mg.com. I hope I got that right. To find out where my radio program goes on and where other programs are you might want to listen to, because it's sort of a podcast, what I got, a weekly podcast. Unfortunately, during the warm weather, I haven't been on but about once or twice a month at best. This is kind of unusual because I've been on 2 weeks in a row. Some major news coming on that I wanted to inform my YouTube channel. I may lose subscribers over this. I'm pissing everybody off tonight, I'm sure. But get on the internet and start looking at Judge Napolitano's channel, Judging Freedom. Listen to Scott Ritter, listen to Douglas McGregor, listen to Jeffrey Sachs, listen to Aaron Mateo, listen to all others on that channel. That's one of the best channels I've seen where it has good guests to listen to, where they know what's going on. And they're not getting all their information from mainstream sources, guaranteed. You will see the difference. The things I'm saying right now, I learned from them. I'm a dummy with international affairs sometimes, but I'm piecing it all together. I'm trying to relay some of the things I know to you before we get into this war. We need massive protest. And when we start seeing body bags come home, watch the ships sail out of the harbor and the bodies come floating back. You know where that comes from? It's a line in a song. I'd like to read you the lyrics of that song, if I can find it very easily, while I'm live on it's called Armageddon Days Are Here Again. Armageddon days. I'm gonna have to close again. It's my internet. I hate when this happens. Armageddon. It's called. The group is called the. I didn't stutter. Armageddon Days. The. And hopefully I can find quickly lyrics. I can. It's coming right up. Listen to these lyrics, folks. And keep in mind, this was written, well, the song was released, put that way, it was released in 1989. They're 5 miles high as the crow flies, leaving vapor trails against the blood-red sky, moving in from the east towards the west, with balaclava helmets over their heads. Yes. And now I'm going to piss off everybody religious here. This is my own editorial here, but here goes. But if you think that Jesus Christ is coming, honey, you've got another thing coming. If he ever finds out who's hijacked his name, he'll cut out his heart and turn in his grave. Islam is rising, the Christians mobilizing. The world is on its elbows and knees. It's forgotten the message and worships the creeds. It's war, she cried. It's war. This is war. Drop your possessions, all you simple folk. You'll fight them on the beaches in your underclothes. You'll thank the good Lord for raising the Union Jack. You'll watch the ships sail out of the harbor and the bodies come floating back. Watch the ship sail out of the harbor and the bodies come floating back. And it repeats, then it repeats the verse, which is not shown here. If you think that Jesus Christ is coming, well, honey, you've got another thing coming. If he ever finds out who's hijacked his name, he'll cut out his heart and turn in his grave. Then, the next part of the lyrics goes, if the real Jesus Christ were alive today, he'd be gunned down cold by the CIA. Oh, the lights that now burn brightest behind stained glass will cast the darkest shadows upon the human heart. He's attacking all religions here, folks. We're in this because of religion. This whole thing is about religion because of some twisted reading of the Old Testament out of your good book, whether it be the Bible or the Talmud or the Quran. That's why we're here. Sorry, that's my editorial again. Back to the lyrics. Oh, the lights that now burn brightest behind stained glass will cast the darkest shadows upon the human heart. But God didn't build himself that throne. God doesn't live in Israel or Rome. God doesn't belong to the Yankee dollar. God doesn't plant the bombs for Hezbollah. God doesn't even go to church, and God won't send us down to Allah to burn. God will remind us what we already know, that the human race is about to reap what it's sown. The world is on its elbows and knees. It's forgotten the message of worship, the creeds. Armageddon days are here again. Again, a song by The called Armageddon Days are here again. You can get that on YouTube. In fact, you'll find a version that has the lyrics printed right. You can listen to the song and hear the lyrics at the same time. My time is up on Liberty Tree Radio. People on YouTube can still watch, and we can possibly get into a conversation here. I can answer questions. But thanks everybody for listening on Liberty Tree Radio. That's libertyradio.4mg.com if you want to go and find out some episodes of other people as well. Thanks for listening. So long. Okay, now we're off Liberty Tree Radio, and I'm only on YouTube. Let's see what the chat's saying. That's a powerful message, folks, I think. A group I used to listen to. A lot of us in the U.S. don't know about that group. They were not very popular here, didn't have very many hits, hardly even charted at all. And they were much more popular in the UK. So are we supposed to remember that whole list? What list was that? Of countries? Write them down. Israel, Iran, United States, Lebanon, I got something written down here. Yemen, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Pakistan, Russia, China. That's the players of World War III if we get involved in this, if we get World War III started. We're going to be involved in starting World War III. We are going to start it. Bibi's trying his best, but if the rest of the world holds back or helps them in different other ways, Turkey could cut off their oil, and it could probably stop this. The Houthis are trying to block their goods coming in by ship, but the ships can still go around. It takes a lot longer, thousands of miles farther. Hi, Bill. I think I might have the list of commentators. Oh, list of commentators. Well, just go to Judge, I can tell you. Again, just go to Judge Napolitano's site on YouTube. called Judging Freedom. Click on the live, and just today he's had Phil Girardi, Aaron Matai, Patrick Lancaster, Colonel Douglas McGregor. He's had all 4 of those guests on today. Yesterday he had on Scott Ritter, Pepe Escobar, Karen Kowalski, Colonel Matt Ho, Jeffrey Sachs, Larry Johnson, he's a former CIA, Ray McGovern, Alistair Crook, former British diplomat. These are all, you don't have to write them down. Just go to Judge Napolitano's YouTube channel called Judging Freedom. Before they eliminate it, folks, they're going to have to eliminate. I think they're going to have to eliminate this channel. I think they're going to have to get rid of it. He's already had one strike where he had to stop posting everything for like a week or something. And they're going to nail him because these guests, Scott Ritter, one of the best people I think you should listen to, he's been raided even at his home by the FBI. They seized his passport too, trying to get on an airplane going to Russia. Free speech is not free anymore in this country. We don't have free speech in this country. If you do exercise your free speech, they will be coming after you. And maybe they'll come after me. I'm glad you're glad. Somebody says, I'm glad you're on the right side of things. Well, I'm glad you think I'm on the right side because I'm making a lot of people really mad here. And probably made you mad at some point too. Either religiously or politically. Don't talk about religion and politics, right? I'm sure I made just about everybody mad here. But we're into this problem because of religion. That's kind of the bottom line. If it wasn't for a twisted reading of what Israel thinks is the promised land and what they're guaranteed to, God says it's their land, then we're never, it's religion right there. It's based entirely on religion, solely. Okay, anybody want to ask any questions? I'll be on the air here for a while if you want, otherwise we can go. No, you haven't made me mad yet. I really dig you, man. Thank you. You thumbs up. Doesn't look like anybody's thumbed up here. Since I'm on a different channel, I'm going to thumbs it up. If you thumb it up, the more people that thumb it up, the more apparently the YouTube algorithm will favor. If you like it, thumbs up, like, whatever you want to call it. So I just put my own thumb on there since I'm watching another channel. I normally don't even thumb up my own videos, but we'll do it this time. Let's see. Something else I miss here. It's best to jump ship and move to a country far from the war and far from anyone like Greenland. Well, if you want, you can do that. I would suggest if it does get to be a nuclear situation, which I don't think it will, but it could. Again, I'm not a fear monger. Everybody should know that. Just about every prepper channel right now is fear mongering the hell out of this, but they've been fear mongering for years. Anytime something happens in the news, they're fear mongering. I don't ever fear monger, as you probably know. I don't fear monger Fukushima. I don't fear monger any of it. And I'm not really trying to fear monger now. I'm just giving a good, clear warning that this is a perilous time. The history books, if they're anywhere near truthful, depending who wins the war controls the history, right? Will show that this is the start. This is the start of World War III. It really started in 1947. Is that the year they created? It's 47, 48. I might have the year wrong. When they created Israel. Israel should not exist. Because think of it this way, for folks in the U.S. can probably relate to this, and everybody around the world kind of probably relate to this, because you may have similar stories in your own country, such as Australia. Here in the U.S., think of it this way. What country in the world would do what Bibi's doing? Try to ethnic cleanse, kill civilians, drive them out of their own lands. Who the hell would do that? The U.S.? 200 and some years ago? Isn't that what we do to the Native Americans? Kill civilians, drive them out of their lands? With weapons aimed at civilians, such as one of the things that in this case that is largely said, maybe it's not true, is smallpox and blankets as gifts. Yeah. So no, we wouldn't ever do that, would we? A similar story in Australia, and probably a lot of countries in the world had similar stories of how conquering nations would take over the territory and drive out the ethnic population and make it their own. Oh, Somebody says there's no thumbs visible to do it. Okay, well, that must be a setting that I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. I certainly can't do it now. You can always log on or stay logged on when it's posted. After I get done here, it will post it. It will log on itself. And then you can add a comment there, because I think also the comments will disappear. From my experience here, the comments will disappear, but the thumbs will be there. No description box. I think that the problem for some reason or another, the description box should be there after we're done, and it'll take me a few minutes to post all these links that I've mentioned here. But I don't think the chat will show up again. But I think the thumbs up and down will be there, and the number of counts will be there. I do believe. We just had 11 people watching. Now it's down to 8. So we don't get the counts that a lot of channels do, and that's just because YouTube just doesn't. The algorithm is trying to shut me down, basically, and they're doing a good job of it. And so somebody said Rumble. I do have a channel on Rumble. I have not posted any videos yet. But if YouTube gets any worse, I'm going to have to go on Rumble, because this is just stupid. If we go to war, probably my channel will be eliminated, because I've said too many things that are truthful here that you can't have on a mainstream source, because YouTube really is kind of a mainstream source, folks. And a lot of these channels, because right now, the first time in history we've had really a war that we're involved in where the main weapon is missiles and drones going back and forth. We've never really had that before. The main form of course, exploding pagers and things, we never had this before, but also the internet is going to be key, because they've been able to lie to us completely for so many decades with the mainstream media, CBS, NBC, CBS, Fox, BSNBC, CNN, you name it, all of those networks are lying to you, are trying to, there's no, the polls don't gauge public opinion. They create public opinion. How is it we got from nobody in the world wanted you-know-who to assume the presidency if our cadaver-in-chief died? Nobody in the world wanted that. Then all of a sudden, when the cadaver-in-chief says he's stepping down from the election, all of a sudden, you-know-who is neck and neck with the guy that was going to whip the cadaver-in-chief's ass. How'd that happen? Well, the polls say, don't you know? I don't believe it for 1 second. I didn't believe it then. How do you go from 0 to 50%, 49%, whatever they're claiming, like that? That makes absolutely no sense. Well, that's what happened. That's what they're pretending happened. Okay, let's see. Been on quite a while. Let's see if anybody has anything that we want to talk about. What do you think of Zelensky? Oh, Zelensky, and what do I think of Zelensky and Bibi both visiting Trump? Well, I think they probably realize that Trump probably is going to be our next president. I don't know if that's what they have in mind for us. You can't vote them out. Tweedledee or Tweedledum, you're going to get what you're going to get. It's all preordained already. They got control of the media, so they control your mind. You can protest, and we need mass protests. What else can you do as an American? There's something else you can do. It's going to make a lot of people mad too. You can stop paying your taxes. But no, you're not brave enough to do that. They understand money. If they don't have money to give to Israel, they don't have the weapons to give to Israel with our money, they'll listen. Yeah, again, pissing everybody off. That's what you can do. You won't do it. You might not even protest. You might just sit back and hope for the best. I have my platform here. I don't have a big platform. I try to do what I can. Who knows? Maybe one of my videos one day will go viral and they'll pay attention to me, or they'll just shut me down because people are paying attention to me. It's the way things go today. Zelensky's done with. I think another sort of prediction based on what I've learned, mostly off of Judge Napolitano's channel. Zelensky is done. He's been done for more than a year. There was no counteroffensive. That thing in Kursk was just a show, and that was a total failure. I knew it when it happened. Because I knew it because I listened to Judge Napolitano's channel. So Zelensky's done, but I think our cadaver in chief is trying to hang on to it, onto the Ukraine myth, until at least the election's over with. Because you got to get you know who elected, don't you know? So you probably won't see anything happen. There was even another promise of money. I think the U.S. is just going to walk away. Okay, good luck. We started that war. In essence, we started that war. It wasn't just Russia. It wasn't just Putin. Yeah, it was a bad thing to Putin. I'm not pro Putin. I'm not pro Russia. But really, I'll listen to what the guy said, what he's been saying, and what he's done, and how the war actually started. Because we are really responsible for starting that. And we are responsible, I mean the U.S., we are responsible for allowing it to continue and pushing it more and more to where well over 100,000 people have died. I think it's more than 250,000, actually, on both sides, something like that. None of those people had to die, or well, very few of them would have had to die, because the war would have been over the next month that it started. But we have prolonged it, and we're about ready to just walk away, say, okay, good luck, Ukraine. We got this war in Israel we got to deal with. And if we survive that, we'll have to walk away from Israel too, because Israel is a lost cause. I don't think has a chance of winning. Well, I think he does. Again, I don't watch the polls. Trump isn't a great choice by any means, but you know who is even worse. And so, well, they're going to put in who they want to put in. It's really not up to me to say. I could vote for Tweedledee or Tweedledum. They're still going to put in either one of them no matter what. One of the only people that actually ran that I was paying attention to out of both parties that I thought he had a good talk, whether or not he had the walk, he might not have the walk, but he's got the talk, was Vivek Ramaswamy, is that Ramaswamy, sorry. And Tulsi Gabbard, she has a good talk too. But neither one of those are in the running. Because they're so scared of Trump, for whatever reason, because Trump could be he's a loose cannon in more ways than one. What if he decides to actually do something about the deep state, or about those really in control of things? Or he could go on TV and he could demand to see all the files about his own assassination and find out who might have been involved in that. He'd have the power to do that. Probably going to quickly start burning documents if he does become president, to make sure he doesn't find out. He would have, as president, the ability, but he didn't do what the things he said he was going to do in 4 years. What makes you think he's going to do it in another 4 years? He didn't get out of the war of Afghanistan. He had 4 years to do it. Said he was going to, didn't do it. Our cadaver in chief did it. How'd that happen? It wasn't pretty, but he did it. It could be very pretty if he kept us out of this war before it started. He can do that with one single phone call. Maybe he'll do that on his last day of office. I don't know. Probably not. So Zelensky, that war is over with. It's been over with for more than a year. We're just prolonging it for our own purposes, because for some reason, Russia is our enemy. Why is Russia our enemy? All the sanctions in the world, they're talking about putting more sanction on Iran. Why is Iran our enemy? A lot of good all the sanctions did on Russia, because Russia right now has a booming economy and the best military in the world, probably. Certainly better than ours. How those sanctions work out for you? More sanctions being announced on Iran. What other countries do we have sanctions on? Any country we hate or call them terrorists. Why is Iran our enemy? I think people in Iran probably call us the Great Satan for great reason. Look what we're doing all over the world. Maybe that's justified, calling us the Great Satan. Is that why they hate us? We used to control Iran with the Shah. Now that they can't control it, all of a sudden they're our enemy, right? The US and the CIA are going to have to someday recognize international sovereignty and stay out of the business of all these other countries. When we get destroyed, we're going to find out the hard way, unfortunately. Trump knows too much stuff. Well, I don't know. You saw that he wasn't willing to reveal what he found out about the JFK assassination, President Kennedy. He refused to reveal to the public what he'd learned everything that he learned. Okay, unless anybody has any more comments, I'm going to end it right here. We're going to be, the live feeds are easier for me to do than producing the videos, because the videos, when I produce them, I added so many B-rolls and music and other clips and everything. It takes a lot of my time, and I just don't have the time right now. So the live feeds are easier for me. Plus, I go on the air for an hour anyway at this time on Wednesdays, so 7 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. So thanks everybody for watching. Subscribe and like, I guess, like they say. Thanks. Bye.